So anyways, let's learn a little bit more about Dia de los Muertos, live from Mexico City. Patricia, buenos dias. Tell us about the festival.
Hi, good day to all. Buenos dias. I'm going to share now my screen. Here you are. The Day of the Dead is a holiday where families welcome back the souls of their dead relatives for a brief gathering that includes food, drink, and celebration. Mesoamerican rituals, European religion, and Spanish culture blend each year. The roots of the holiday celebrated in contemporary Mexico go back 3,000 years to the rituals honoring the dead in pre-Columbian Mesoamerica. The Aztecs held a cyclical view of the universe and saw death as an integral, ever-present part of life. Upon dying, the person's soul could reach Mictlán, the land of the dead, only after getting through 9 challenging levels and a journey of several years. In Aztec rituals, family members provided food, water, and tools to aid the dead in this difficult journey. In medieval Spain, people would bring wine and spirit bread to the graves on All Souls' Day. They would cover graves with flowers and light candles to illuminate the dead soul's way back to their homes. In the 16th century, Spanish conquistadores brought such traditions with them to the New World. El Día de los Muertos is not, as is commonly thought, a Mexican version of Halloween. Though the two holidays share some traditions, it's believed that the border between the spirit world and the real world dissolve. The souls of the dead awaken and return to the living world to feast, drink, dance, and play music with their loved ones. In turn, the living family members treat the dead as honored guests in their celebrations. The most prominent symbols related to the holiday are skeletons and skulls. In the early 20th century, José Guadalupe Posada incorporated skeletal figures in his art, mocking politicians. His most well-known work, La Calavera Catrina, or Elegant Skull, features a female skeleton wearing a fancy hat with feathers. It was intended as a statement about Mexicans adopting European fashions over their own heritage and traditions. La Calavera Catrina was then adopted as one of the most recognizable Day of the Dead icons, like Sarah just reminded us. Diego Rivera included La Calavera Catrina in his most famous mural, Dream of a Sunday Afternoon in Alameda Park, as a homage to Posada's illustration. During Day of the Dead festivities, people wear skull masks and eat sugar candy. The tradition has developed even more to its visibility in pop culture and its growing popularity in the United States. The holiday was celebrated in the more rural areas of Mexico, but in the 1980s, it began spreading into the cities. UNESCO added Mexico's festivity dedicated to the dead to its list of intangible cultural heritage in 2008. Inspired by the James Bond movie Spectre, Mexico City held its first ever parade for the holiday in 2016. Disney and Pixar released the animated hit Coco, a homage to the Mexican tradition in which a young boy is transported to the land of the dead. A literary form exists within this holiday. People write short poems in rhyming verse, which are light-hearted epitaphs, mostly dedicated to friends, co-workers, or family members, but also to public or historical figures. They describe comedic anecdotes that use death-related imagery. Here's an example. Pancho Calavera lives up the street, baking pan de muerto, it's ever so sweet. He rolls out the dough with the bones from his toe, then licks off what's left, all tasty and sweet, and pops the clean toe bones back onto his feet. An altar is made in honor of the deceased and can be displayed at a gravesite or in the home. It can be built using tables, shelves, or crates in 3 and up to 7 levels that reference Catholic and indigenous beliefs. The top level symbolizes heaven, the middle level represents earth, and the lower level symbolizes the Aztec underworld. Offerings or gifts are placed intended to honor and welcome the souls back home. Some of these offerings are cempasúchil arches represent the entrance to paradise. A mirror is used so the returning souls can see their loved ones through the reflection. Candles represent fire and attract the spirits to the altar. Paper banners represent the wind and fragility. Sugar skulls and figurines are a reminder of life's brevity and certainty of death. Marigold flowers lure the souls to earth. Incense made of copal is used to communicate with the spirit world. The cross and Catholic images help the spirits to clean their past deeds. Salt purifies the souls. Bread and food are the loved one's favorite items to eat. Photos of the deceased are included to remember loved ones who have passed away. Water and drinks quench the thirst of the spirits who return to earth. Pan de Muerto traces its roots to the time of the Spanish conquistadores in the early 1500s. It originated when the Aztecs made a type of bread with amaranth, honey, and human blood as an offering to the gods. It was considered a sacred food. They are said to have made sacrifices of young women and warriors, and their hearts would be put in a clay pot mixed with amaranth that the priest heading the ritual would then eat to thank the gods for a good harvest. The Spanish priests, finding the practice of human sacrifice barbaric, instead baked wheat bread to represent the hearts of the young who were sacrificed and covered it with red sugar representing their blood. Today, there are about 750 different kinds of pan de muerto throughout the country with special ingredients and shapes. Pan de muerto is filled with symbolism. The ball on top represents the skull of the deceased, and the pieces that lay across the bread in the shape of a cross signify their bones and tears. In some regions, people still dust their bread with red sugar as they were said to do in pre-Hispanic times. Though the particular customs and scale of Day of the Dead celebrations continue to evolve, the heart of the holiday has remained the same over thousands of years. It's an occasion for remembering and celebrating those who have passed on from this world, while at the same time portraying death in a more positive light as a natural part of the human experience. Thank you.
That was awesome, Patricia. We actually have a couple questions for you. The first question here is, what are some popular offerings that you've seen in your community?
Well, the ones that are really popular are the ones organized by museums and by cultural institutions. And people like neighbors gather around and donate all sorts of things so that everyone will participate. It's a community activity.
Interesting. So we used to do a thing here at SMA where we collected everyone's steps. And so we would go through a map and walk all over the world. And one of the first stops was in Mexico. And that's where I first heard of the fact of Spectre being such a huge influence on Mexico. So it's really interesting how, how American culture influences Mexican culture, even though it's based on Mexican culture. And I guess a follow-on question to that is, are there any big celebrations going on this year? Did COVID affect any of it? What's your experience?
Well, I know that they are organizing they organized the same event as they would without COVID, but with some restrictions. And well, it's a fun thing to do with family and friends, and you can, yeah, well, it's organized in the open air, so there's not really much risk about it because there's a big parade and everyone can go without danger out.
Right.
And Patricia, final question. We have our SMA, once again, sugar skulls here. Have you ever made a sugar skull before?
No, I haven't done that because everywhere they sell them, they are sugar made, chocolate made, amaranth made. So I've been kind of lazy in that aspect.
What about the bread? The bread looked really good.
Oh, the bread is delicious. It tastes of orange zest. And I'll share the recipe through the chat for anyone who's into baking.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So,
any other questions?
Are there?
I think that was it for the questions
the
today.
Flags in the back. Has Patricia made those?
Oh, have you made any of the flags? For example,
no, they were bought in the market. They are made of paper and they are handmade. That's the most incredible thing.
So are there different celebrations in different parts of the country, or do people usually congregate to like one big area?
Yes, there are different kinds of celebrations depending on the state you are in. And as I said during the presentation, the celebrations are very diverse, as well as the Pan de Muerto is.
Right. Oh, interesting. Well, thank you for your time.